The piece speaks to the marginalization of women and how Noria Mabasa has been able to break down the boundaries of patriarchy. This was made to commemorate the 1956 Women's March. So it speaks to the role of women and really just how far we've come. Although women are still fighting against all sorts of marginalizations, the literal move of this sculpture speaks to Noria Mabasa and her radical way of doing art, because we are also going to be breaking things down. It's as if she is actually breaking these walls down. So it's symbolic, breaking down the boundaries of patriarchy and doing art in a terrain that was usually reserved for men. For the longest time, this sculpture was not dead, but frozen, because it was just sitting, gathering dust. We had actually just stored it. But this speaks to the continuous and the inherited obsessions that museums have on just wanting to hold on to things, just wanting to preserve. And sometimes we would just be boasting and saying we have this, we have a Noria Mabasa sculpture, but we are contributing and perpetuating the marginalization of women, because by keeping her sculpture in here where it's not being seen, we are doing exactly what was done before, even before the 1956, which this sculpture symbolizes. We are just excited about this collaboration, and we hope that this will be a start of further conversations, because it's history, it's entrenched in colonial foundations. So the fact that we are able to do this collaboration with Javett, which is a museum that's been established in the new South Africa, where you have new sites that speaks to nation building, and it's a good space for these conversations, the uncomfortable conversations. We are happy to be doing this with them. It shows the intersection and the transformation from the colonial space to the one that is more liberating. And the lovely thing about art is the fact that there are no filters and boundaries, so we get to explore these intersections between arts and culture.
It's an incredible privilege and honor for us to have this here. We are incredibly grateful to Ditsong for the loan. The Javett's entire mandate is about making art accessible, not just celebrating, but showcasing our cultural heritage. And this sculpture here has, been hidden essentially for a decade. It's never been publicly exhibited. So creating that kind of access for a public audience to actually enjoy the sculpture and to take it in is just exactly what the Javett-UP is all about. We're thrilled to have it here. It really is something we are bearing witness to history being made.
The sculpture is very important to the Javett Art Center and We the Purple exhibition because of the provenance of the sculpture, which represents the 1956 Women's March to the Union Buildings. And most importantly, the sculpture has not been seen by the public eye for over a decade. How it happened in the planning phases of the exhibition, the Javett Art Center collaborated with neighboring institutions in Pretoria, and when we approached the Ditsong Cultural Museums for a collaboration, one of the curators actually mentioned the sculpture to us, and we were quite interested as the sculpture was being stored at Ditsong Museum. I think it's very significant because she is still a living artist, and the sculpture is actually part of the CAPS curriculum, which I find very interesting that the public gets to see and view the work in a museum context, but most importantly, the Javett Art Center, because we encourage learning through the arts.